Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to my beautiful hotel room in Scottsdale, Arizona. Rockies concluding, it's Sunday morning as we tape this. Rockies concluding their three-game set in Arizona. Has not gone well so far. Rockies trying to snap a six-game losing streak today. We'll get to that and some other Rockies topics in a moment. But first, I want to tell you about Steel Power Tools. Steel are the best. They are worldwide, and they're going to help you make every job around your house, your property, an easy one. It'll help make your property pristine. Go to steelusa.com and go shopping. STIHL. There are blowers and trimmers and mowers and everything, again, that will help out around the yard. STIHL. That's steelusa.com, steeldealers.com, and they'll let you know where the nearest dealer is from your home. All right, I also want to tell you about Huntington Bank. They're terrific, and they're in your neighborhood as well. And they make you feel comfortable, and they have some great products out there. It's got a great local feel, and that's why they're doing so well, not only in this region, but in other regions of the country. So give them a try. HuntingtonBank.com. That's HuntingtonBank.com. All right. We have Dugan Darnell coming up in a little bit. I love great stories in sports. I think we all gravitate to the great story, and Dugan Darnell certainly has one. More on the Rockies. 28-year-old rookie reliever who yesterday pitched and pitched well again, got 4 outs in the Rockies' 6-5 loss to Arizona. It was a good ball game, 5-5, and unfortunately Arizona was able to walk off the Rockies in the bottom of the ninth inning. But Dugan Darnell's been a neat story so far in his first 10 days in the big leagues. Let me start with preseason football. It's all the rage now. It's underway. It's around the corner. You know, if you followed me through the years, you know how much I love football. I love calling football. I love the NFL. I love college football. I love everything about it. And I'm excited about football getting going. So don't misconstrue what I'm about to say as, I'm being a lump of coal here. But I analogize preseason football to March spring training baseball. It doesn't mean a friggin' thing most of the time. There are bits and pieces every once in a while that will give you an inkling as to an individual and their particular talent or their ability maybe to make a club. But in preseason football, starters typically don't play. Sometimes they don't play at all. The key players don't play at all because most important in the game of football is the guys that you know are going to be your guys and are ultimately going to tell the story of your season. You don't want to get them hurt on August 10th. That's number one. Baseball's different because the risk of injury is not as high and they bring guys along slowly. But, you see guys take 2-3 at bats in spring training and you may see a young player and go, ooh, he opened some eyes. But you also have to keep remembering in spring baseball that a lot of times a guy who hits 380, maybe a good portion of those at bats were against other minor league guys. So, you always kind of pump the brakes. Well, the same thing when it comes to preseason football. Nobody is scheming to beat the other team. They're very vanilla defensively, as you are aware if you're an astute football fan. And so it's nice to see guys running around. It's nice to see the draft picks that you may be excited about running around, but you don't have a true feel as to who they are. So for Bronco fans, and watched week one, and the Broncos didn't convert from what I understand because I didn't see a play of it. Didn't convert any third downs. Bo Nix was just okay. Doesn't mean a fucking thing. All right? Doesn't. That's simple. And the only thing that I take away from the buildup for the Broncos to this season, for one, is that this defense has a chance to be outstanding. It was really good last year, and they've improved on that defense. And it got me thinking about that third week of 2023 when the Broncos gave up 70 down in Miami, and it could have been worse. They called off the dogs. I mean, it could have been worse, which is unimaginable to think about. And yet, fast forward, not a full 2 years later, because again, the Broncos defense was good last year. Vance Joseph's team may help lead this team even deeper into January. And it was a team that, again, 2 years ago, that's how quick things can turn in sports, that had a remarkably awful game, not to mention the first part of that season. Anyhow, that's one of the things that I take away. The other element of the first week of preseason football, maybe the biggest story, and certainly it landed here in Colorado, is Shedeur Sanders. He had a nice first outing with the Cleveland Browns. They have I don't want to say a deep quarterback room. They have a populated quarterback room. A lot of young guys, one older guy, one guy that's hurt and won't play this year, and they're trying to figure it out. And Shedeur Sanders got the opportunity, mostly because of injury, to be the first guy up. And to his credit, again, understanding who you're playing against, understanding that the other team's not scheming, to beat the Cleveland Browns, he performed well, and he deserves accolades for that. Some accolades for performing well. We've always said this. He's really accurate, which is really important moving from college to the NFL. He has toughness. Now, I think he's moving better from what I saw than he did at Colorado. I think he's in better shape, honestly. I think he's a little leaner. So he was able to scramble effectively again in that first preseason game. I know he had one or two plays where he held the football and kept, retreating. But he definitely showed in a spring game, preseason game, not spring game, summer game, that he belonged. And we'll see, how he builds on that, and we'll see how that competition plays out in Cleveland. He, I think, went out of his way afterward. He's trying to change the narrative around him. And so he gave himself, I think, a C- in terms of his performance. He went out of his way to say, the whole thing's about the team winning. And I never fully got that vibe when he was at Colorado. It was more about him. And if it didn't go well, it was because of the O-line. It was because of something else. So I think he is attempting to change the narrative again around him and the perception of who he is. And it'll probably take a while for some. But his first outing in a game that didn't count, listen, if he went out and went 3 for 13 throwing the ball and took 4 sacks, I mean, he would be getting pummeled right now. That didn't happen. Actually, it was probably about 180 degrees the other way. So good for him. Good for him. Playing early in preseason, which, again, not huge on that. There were a couple other things that are going around. By the way, I have Live Golf on right now. I've never watched Live Golf. I have it on the television on the Sunday morning, and, they're running around in shorts out there. And, I guess I'm not the only one, but I can't get into it. And it's not just the majors. I watch the PGA Tour. I mean, the PGA, they got to get this thing together, get the best players off Live, and get them under 110. And I hope that thing finally happens in the not too distant future. Big shout out to Jen Powell. She, I'm sure you caught this story. She became the first woman to work a major league game during the regular season. She's working down that Atlanta series, I guess against the Marlins, and today being Sunday, she's going to work the plate. Good for her. It's overdue. I believe in meritocracy, and I believe that there have to be women who can umpire, adjudicate a baseball game at the highest level and have the skill set to do it. I don't think there's any question. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Yet it's taken a long, long time. And there's some women who've worked in the minor leagues before. But think to the NFL. The NFL has had women working and officiating games now for about a decade. The NBA You go back 28 years now. Violet Palmer, and I'm forgetting the other woman who were initially hired by the NBA, but now it's commonplace. That's almost 3 decades ago. I was working in the NBA when it first happened, and nobody even makes mention of it now. So baseball overdue in that department, and good for Jen Powell for breaking that glass ceiling. The Savannah Bananas are all the rage in Denver this week. We're on the road with the Rockies, and they've sold out Coors Field. They have the game on in McGregor Square. People are bananas about the Savannah Bananas. And I have to be honest, I've got to take one in because I'm trying to figure out what all the fuss is about. I've read the rules, and I think it's really cool. Foul ball, if you're in the stands and you catch it, the guy's out. They have other unique rules that I've got to see implemented. But you know what? It's resonating with people. I don't know if people would go and watch 30 Savannah Banana games in the course of a year, but as a one-off or maybe even a couple of times, it's working because they are selling out big league ballparks right and left. And I guess they're going to play, 70 some odd games. And these guys can play. They're all former players at some degree of high level, minor league players. Carell Prime was in the Rockies organization. I think he reached AAA. He's a first baseman and pitcher. Got to visit with Carell a few weeks ago because he's very close with Ryan McMahon. He caught up with Ryan and some other guys in Boston when the Rockies were playing the Red Sox. But this is fascinating, and it's not, I guess, for those of us who didn't know a lot, would say, oh, it's the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. In fact, we had this conversation on the air the other day, and Spilly, made mention of that. I guess that the individual or a couple of the individuals who started this, they were it was their brainchild, or they're the brainchild of it. I should do a better way of saying that. They're somewhat offended by that because they look at this as still a game that takes place, but it is entertainment. And well, whatever analogy you want to make, obviously the Harlem Globetrotters were wildly popular and remain so. The Savannah Bananas have done the same for baseball. And the only thing I can think of that may make a difference in Major League Baseball is if you look at some of their rules, can you implement any of those in Major League Baseball? Not to make it, a joke in some regard, but is there anything there that maybe fits and still works in extreme competition? I know the golden batter rule has been kicked around, and if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, that means one time in a game, in a Bananas game, you can bat out of order. You can take your best hitter, like Aaron Judge, if he was a Savannah Banana, and it's the ninth inning, and the Bananas were down, and all of a sudden the bases were loaded, and even though Aaron Judge just hit, 4 hitters ago, he could come up again right there. It's the golden batter rule. I think that's what they call it. I'm not suggesting that happens in Major League Baseball, but it's worthy of a discussion. Now, I don't think we're going to get to a point where a foul ball by Mike Trout that's caught down the right field line by some fan with a glove or a hat and a beer in his hand, and all of a sudden Mike Trout's out. I don't think that's happening. But whatever they're doing, man, they're doing it well, and it's really resonated with people. So good for the Savannah Bananas. Good for our hometown as they get to watch the Bananas a couple times this week. All right, I always tell you that I love a good story. And I don't know if I've heard of a better story recently than that of Dugan Darnell. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, and then he's going to walk you through it in our interview. But he's a kid that, coming out of high school, wasn't recruited by many schools. He ended up at Adrian College, and I know D3 baseball very well. Adrian's really good. They've had guys and play professionally, and he went there as an infielder. And he had a nice career, hit over 300, I think, in his career. there. And his last year is when he started pitching. And again, he'll walk us through that story. And after college, it was a long, long journey to get to the big leagues last week. And so far, so good for Dugan Darnell, a 28-year-old rookie who didn't go to UCLA, didn't go to Arkansas, didn't go to LSU. And this guy's a big leaguer and has a chance. It's not just hopefully, a nice story in a horrendous year for the Rockies in 2025. He may have some staying power because he's got good stuff and he's performed well at most every stop in the minor leagues. So I'll leave it at that and hope you enjoy hearing the journey of Rockies right-handed reliever Dugan Darnell from the state of Michigan. Dude, I love it. You're walking around Chase Field, not sitting in your hotel room, didn't wake up at 11:30. How's it feel, man? You're a big leaguer. Does it feel pretty neat? Still in has the light gone on? Do you realize?
Yeah, it's I'm very present. I'm appreciating every second, and it's a lifelong dream come true. So yeah, just trying to enjoy every second and make the most out of any opportunity I get.
You know what? I love a great story in baseball. One of the things I love about the game of baseball is it provides the unique story. For every kid that went to Arkansas and LSU that ends up in the big leagues, there are more that have a story somewhat similar to yours. Maybe not exactly as you got to the big leagues, but I want to take you way back to high school. When you came out of high school, you end up at Adrian, which, I've had boys who played high-level D3, so I know that's a good program. But how'd you end up there? How good a player were you?
Yeah, so I didn't make varsity team in high school until my junior year. I was pretty undersized, quick leadoff hitter, played shortstop. Didn't pitch in high school or college until my senior year in college. But, I was, that grinder, leadoff guy, just try to get on any way I could. I had a couple of D2 offers, a couple of D1 walk-on offers, but financially it made the most sense to go to this Division III school. My mom was a college professor, so I got tuition exchange, and that was the draw to go to D3. It was a great program with a lot of a good history and good facilities. It would have been free, and I would have played right away, or so I thought. So that was very attractive to me, and so I took it.
How long did it take you to get on the field, and you were still playing on the left side in college?
Yes. So there was a lot of talent when I got there, and it was good for me. I did not actually start right away, and that was good for me to kind of put my ego aside and actually understand that hey, your performance on the field actually matters. You got to help the team win.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you always have a big arm? I mean, I know you said you didn't pitch in high school. You were shortstop, so obviously you had a good arm. But did you have a big arm in high school and early in college?
Yeah. I would say that was probably one of my best tools. I never really even thought anything of it because I enjoyed playing the infield and I enjoyed hitting and I enjoyed being on that side of the ball, and I guess I never even thought about pitching until my senior year of college.
Yeah, how'd that come about? I mean, was this something you went to the coaching staff and said, "Hey, I think I can help us on the mound," or did they come to you and say?
The winter right before the spring season started, my senior year, we were just I played summer ball growing up, so a bunch of my buddies and I that I played summer ball with, we all went to different schools, and we met up and we were hitting, and there's a mound with a radar gun just always running. And I just hopped up and threw a couple pitches, as hard as I could. And they were, around mid-90s. And one of my buddies just looked at me and was like, "You should probably do something about this." And so I was able to do something about it. I took it to my coach. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows at first. I had to figure out arm care because I would get up on the mound and throw 8 to 10 pitches, and I wouldn't be feeling too well. So I had to figure out arm care. That was the next step, and I actually tried to stop pitching that fall, and my head coach in college just was like, "Hey, don't be selfish. You got to help the team figure out any way to make this work." And I'm glad I listened to him.
Yeah. Were you starting or were you closing in college?
Close. So I still played the field. I was two-way, so I
Right.
would play 8 innings at third base and then go pitch the ninth.
I got you. So school ends. You had a great year on the mound. I know, and you listen. You had a good career offensively, obviously. Um, did you think immediately about affiliated ball? Did you think about indie ball? Did you think about, hey, I'm going to go, start a different career?
Yeah. So about in February, in that same winter, I went and I did like 4 or 5 interviews to get this finance job in Chicago. This was before I had even thrown a pitch in college, so I didn't even know that was an option when I had signed for this job in Chicago. I was very excited about it. I also, I worked really hard to get my degree, so I was excited to have that, in my back pocket, I guess. And then, so my senior year happened, and I really felt like there was more to unpack there. And so I was like, hey, I think the season ended in May, and I wasn't going out to my job till July. So I was like, why not go see what we got here? So I reached out to some people. I got a contract with the Rockford Rivets in the Northwoods League. So I was able to go kind of pitch a little bit more there, develop a little more off speed. I had a curveball back in the day, and then I developed the splitter a little bit more. And that was, I guess, my first step to trying to figure out, my dream of playing in the show. So yeah.
Yeah. And so you go indie ball, and you reached out. Tell that story, because you reached out to all 30 teams trying to get a gig, an opportunity. Tell us, how that came about with the Rockies ultimately.
Yeah, so that was like around 2020, which was obviously a terrible time for the world, but it was a good situation for me because I was able to play in that 14 league. Nobody else was playing. I got to play. I got to pitch a full season, and that was kind of when development really took off for me. I was able to develop 4 pitches. I had those 4 pitches, and I was able to invest in training and some other stuff. So product-wise, I felt like I was extremely ready, and still nothing was happening. And so I kind of took it into my own hands after that 2020 season, and I did everything that I could to just put myself out there, because I figured, at the worst, they would just that would be it, So I just went on LinkedIn. I went on teams' websites, and I found as many emails as I could. I put together an email thread, a video of my game, game clips and my recent bullpen, my numbers, my story, and I just sent it out to as many people as I could. And I was very blessed and very lucky that the Rockies answered.
I'll tell you what, you had great minor league numbers. One of the things I look at in the minor leagues to try to, ascertain for me, hey, is this guy a prospect, is, it's pretty simple. I look at innings pitched, punch outs per innings pitched, because that gives you an idea what kind of stuff somebody has, like yourself. And, I look at it at hits, per innings pitch, and you want to see how many walks in there. If a guy's walking a hit or an inning, that's a red flag. But your numbers throughout the minor leagues in affiliated baseball were off the charts. And what really jumped out, I'm sure, more importantly than me, were the guys that make the decision, is that you had a a low 3 in Albuquerque. I got to tell you, I've been doing this a long time. I always say if you have less than a 5 in Albuquerque or anywhere in the PCL, you're Sandy Koufax, right? I mean, I think it ain't easy pitching there, is it?
No, it's not. This is my third year pitching there, so I got a good amount of experience there. Yeah, it's not very easy, but what I always say, like, if you can pitch there, you can pitch anywhere. So um, I really dug deep to try to adjust and improve, and I had a lot of help from the pitching coach Chris Mahalik there and my teammates there. There's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, experience makes it a lot easier. So it just at the end of the day, you got to put your best foot forward and adjust and improve.
Was there ever a point in time in this journey that you said, "Man, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen for me"?
Yeah, there's plenty, plenty of times. It's not easy. I'm in a point in my life where I'm getting older and I'm not making much money, and I have a fiance and a wedding coming up, and life goals, and God bless her for sticking with me, and never doubting me, never wavering, and just continuing to grind with me. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of years where it was I really had to think about it.
Yeah. Couple more real quick. What now, because it's been a few days, you were part of an historic win in your debut, and you got the win, 2 innings in that epic comeback down 9-0 early to the Pirates. When you reflect back now, it's just a handful of days, what are the first thoughts that come to mind from when you took the baseball to everything that transpired?
Yeah, I'm still speechless about it. That was such a cool experience. I'm lucky and I'm grateful that this fan base has embraced me as well as they have. And this team, my teammates, have embraced me and really made this transition a lot easier than I thought it would be. I'm extremely grateful for them. That was just a great experience. At the end of the day, though, it's the same games, the same job. I got to go out there and help the team win no matter what. So, I'll appreciate that for the rest of my life. But I got to put it behind me, and I got to keep attacking, and help this team win. With the opportunities I have in front of me.
Yeah. And last one, when you got together with family in the immediate aftermath out on the field, what were the first words exchanged with your folks?
Um, I don't think there was many words. It's just a lot of hugs and a lot of tears. Yeah, that was they're proud of me, and I'm just extremely grateful for their support, not only in this last week, but throughout the low points of my minor league career and my college, my whole life. They've been there through it all. So this is that I always, like I told them, this is not for me. This is for us. So very lucky.
Yeah. Well, it was fun to watch. We're all rooting for you, and I hope there's a million more special moments for you at this level, man. But it's a hell of a journey, and congratulations to you for all your success so far.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
It's really amazing, and we talk about perseverance all the time. We talk about believing in yourself. You have to have people behind you, his fiance, his parents. I mean, it's a bright young man. I mean, this is, a guy that, was going to be working in Chicago and in finance, and he just wouldn't give up on his dream. And I think for every player, even those guys that are drafted high and, are celebrated amateur prospects, there is always the element of doubt that creeps in more so than any other major sport. That's what baseball will do to you. So, imagine it now tenfold with a guy like Dugan Darnell. Where'd you go to school? Adrian. Where's that? Oh, it's in Michigan. Okay. Cold weather guy. So, were you starting pitcher in college? No, I didn't pitch till my senior year. Were you a pitcher in high school? No. I mean, it's a crazy story. It's really, it's unbelievable. So good for Dugan Darnell, good for his perseverance, and good for his early success so far with the Rockies. One quick note, because, the Rockies season, we understand what it is. I'm buoyed by some of the guys that are coming up. Kyle Karros came up this week, and Kyle Karros has some similar traits to Warming Bernabel, who we talked about last week, um, and even Tyler Freeman. Why am I so enamored with Tyler Freeman? Because he puts the ball in play. Why do I like Warming Bernabel? He puts the ball in play with a little bit of impact also. Kyle Karros, I don't know if he's going to be a huge home run guy. He's a big dude. He's 6'5". Maybe he develops power over time. But the 23-year-old puts the ball in play. And my goodness, I mean, I have said this so many times, not only on this little podcast, but also on television. The Rockies have to cut down their strikeouts. And so now you have three guys in their lineup who are going to play quite a bit down the stretch. Obviously, in the case of Tyler Freeman, he's been playing since coming off the injured list earlier in the year every day, and he reaches. He either gets a hit or two, or he walks, he gets on base. Been phenomenal. First couple of weeks for Warming Bernabel, you're like, hey, this guy may be a nice piece. Again, I know it's early. I'm going to pump the brakes. But they put the ball in play. And Kyle Karros, first couple of games, had a single and a walk in his first game. Saturday, double and a walk, puts the ball in play. Not going to be high strikeout guys. So that transition is taking place in this most horrific season, and that's good. Brenton Doyle, more than any player on the Rockies roster, he needed those 4 days off during the All-Star break to reset, recalibrate, take a deep breath and go, okay, what's done is done. I can't change the first half. But in the second half, I'm going to get back to who I was a year ago offensively. And he's been really good so far. I think the answers for the Rockies offensively to being a much better offensive team are far closer than where they are on the pitching side. I mean, the ERA is over 6. The starting pitching, is a mess, and that has always been the most difficult thing for the Rockies to fix, and it will remain so going forward. But it's got to be what they address in every waking moment from this day forward. And it's not that they haven't been trying to do that, because we have seen, it's not aspirational to suggest that the Rockies can have an ERA in the 4.4 range, 4.3 range. It's been done before on the handful of teams that made the playoffs. 5+, 6+ where they are now, it's never going to work. It's never going to work even if you were, much better offensively and hit a lot more home runs. It still wouldn't work. And so that is going to be the biggest challenge of many challenges for this club as they move forward through the rest of 2025 into the 25 offseason, into the season next year in 2026. It's doable, though, because it's been done before. They never won an ERA title, never will win an ERA title, but they got to shave a 1.5+ off where they are right now. And we'll obviously be talking more about that down the road. I got to get to the ballpark. Rockies taking on Arizona. I thank you for your time. Enjoy preseason football. Enjoy the Savannah Bananas. And we'll do it again in approximately 7 days. Take care, everyone. Be well. Stay safe.